everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, because I got a manicure this week, I decided not to waste the nice nails I have, which never ever happens. So I decided to do an eyeshadow palette collection video. This is not a declutter. This is just the eyeshadow palettes that I have accumulated thus far during my lifetime. So without further ado, let's get right into this. Okay, so the first palette I have is actually the newest palette that I've added to my collection, and this is the Too Faced White Peach palette. This palette I've kind of been eyeing for a while. It's a beautiful, kind of cool, yet still warm, neutrally type of palette. It was on half price for Labor Day, so I picked it up in a Labor Day sale. So it was only $27 when I got it. I've used it a couple times. It's very Korean, if you get what I mean. Like the colors themselves aren't very pigmented. They're pretty they're pretty light. They're not super duper pigmented, which is very Korean of this palette actually, because Korean eyeshadows are not known to be the most pigmented. So that's the newest one I have. The next newest one I have is the Norvina palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is actually the first Anastasia palette I've ever bought. None of the other ones really appeal to me except for this one, because as you can see, it is very purple and pink and quite cool tone, which is kind of what I'm drawn to. I'm not drawn to the warm tones that everyone else seems to be. I'm more drawn to colors like this, and this palette is absolutely gorgeous. The colors in it are beautiful. It goes on. They're super pigmented. They all work so well together. It's beautiful to wear it, and it's just an awesome palette to work with. The next palette I have is a limited edition one from Urban Decay. This is one of the Jean-Michel Basquiat ones. This is the really colorful one that I haven't gotten a chance to use all that often, but I think it's absolutely beautiful. It's a gorgeous formula to work with. You can hang these on the wall if you want to, which I will never do, but you can if you want to. The colors in it are so super different, but they kind of remind me of the new Huda Beauty jewel tone palettes that are coming out, that they're very super pigmented, super beautiful, and it's one of those palettes that I don't think I'm not going to get rid of it. I'm not getting rid of any of these right now. But it was one of those palettes that's really fun for fun looks, accent colors, and I love it. The next palette I have in here is a Korean palette. This one is from Etude House. This is the Pink Skull Collection palette. I believe this is the PK002 one. They had two. This is the more ready tone palette. As you can see, it's been well loved. This palette was one of my favorite palettes of all last year. I loved using it. The colors in it are really beautiful, but you have to be warned, they are Korean eyeshadows, so they're not super duper pigmented, but they're still really beautiful to use for neutral looks. And yeah, they're really cute, and the palette is really compact and just great for travel. The next palette I have in here is from NARS. I also picked this one up on sale. This is the NARS Danger Control palette. It comes with 6 shades in it, and they're all glitter. So you definitely can't make an entire look out of this one palette, but the colors in it are gorgeous colors. Like, they're just super like pigmented, pretty, beautiful, all over the lid colors. They're just gorgeous, and I love using them for accent colors. The lighter colors here and here are great for the inner corner, and it's just a beautiful palette. I also bought it when it was on half price because I very rarely buy full price palettes from Sephora. The next one I have in here was a Christmas gift from last year, I believe, and this is the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. This was a palette also has been well loved. This palette is a great neutral everyday eye palette. I'm sure you've seen swatches of all the colors in this already. This palette is very popular. I love the tin. It smells it smells like fuzzy peaches, smells like candy. And they're great. All like there's lots of great crease shades, transition shades, shimmers. You know, it's just missing a deep black, but for me, a black is not a deal breaker in a palette. I love using this, and it's overall one of my favorites. Next up, I also have the Urban Decay Electric palette. Yeah, let me open that there. This palette I love as well. As you can see, it's really, really dirty. So you can see it's been well used. I use this for a lot of my like if I want something really wild one day, or if I need some of these colors for a cosplay look, this is my go-to palette for it. The colors in it, I'm sure you've seen, they're pressed pigments. They're really, really colorful. But yeah, no, I love using it for any of those days where I want to do more of a like an editorial or a creative look. And it's a lot of fun. The next palette in here I bought right before the whole controversy around Kat Von D, and I know a lot of people do not like this palette. I actually really enjoy this. This is the Kat Von D 10-year palette. I love it. I think it's great. The colors in it are very, very unique. It's a really different style of palette, which is, for me, is very, very... I love the unique creativity that these are colors that I don't have elsewhere in my collection. You can make a cool tone look out of it. You can make a warm tone look out of it. It's just very versatile, and the packaging is really beautiful. I wish it wasn't a yellow gold because I'm not a big fan of the yellow gold. But I mean, it's still super beautiful. I know Kat Von D is not in many people's good graces right now, but I just love the palette itself. Next up is another well-loved palette. This is the Smashbox Double Exposure palette. This was the only palette I had for about 6 months, actually. I used to be a one palette type of gal. I would buy one palette and use it till I used it up. I did it with the Ammo palette from Urban Decay, and I started on this one before I kind of discovered the world of eyeshadows, let's say. This one I absolutely love. I love the cool half and the warm half. The colors in it are really nice. They're all neutral colors, which to me is awesome. It was great for everyday looks, but you could also go in with the sparkle and have it be kind of more of a glittery look, which is awesome. But yeah, no, I had this palette alone for about 6 months. Next up is another sale palette. This is the Tarte Energy Noir palette, again, purchased on sale. Probably about 50% off. But yeah, this is a face palette, so it comes with everything. You've got your highlighter, your blush, all these eyeshadows. You even have potentially if you're pale, a contour shade in there. It's a really pretty palette. It's great if you're looking for something that's just a just beautiful, like, neutral palette for smoky eyes, going out at night, or even if you're traveling, because it's got the blush in there. You don't need much else other than those neutrals and the blush. Next up is another well-loved K-Beauty palette. Actually, this is the Hamish palette, and this one is in Blissful Plevy. So this one is in the Blissful Plevy. It is the cool toned blue one. These glitters are fabulous, but they have the pigment in them that Western brands do, but also the glitter of Korean brands, which is so awesome. But yeah, this one is one of my favorite palettes to use. The next palette I have, I actually got from the makeup swap we did with the local YouTubers here in town, and this is from Nicole Chantel. This is the Smashbox Full Exposure palette. It's another really neutral palette, but the way it's organized is like, it's very similar to Norvina palette, where all the shimmers are on top and all the mattes are on the bottom. These shimmers are absolutely beautiful. They're not a overpowering shimmer. It's a very neutral eyeshadow palette, but it's great for like everyday looks, work looks. If I'm feeling like a little bit more bold lip, I'll use this for my eyeshadow look, just because it's a little bit easier to work with when you're dealing with a bold lip. But yeah, no, I really like it. She said she only swatched it, or if she even swatched it, I don't remember, but it's almost pretty much brand new, and I love it. I got another neutral palette. This is the Matte Neutrals from Ulta Beauty. This I got as a birthday gift from my best friend Jill. She lives near the States in Ontario, and she, as you can see, I haven't even opened it yet. This palette I really enjoy for the sole fact, let me get it open. For the sole fact, this palette, I like the look of it. Like, it's all completely matte. So this kind of reminds me of the Ultimate Mattes from Urban Decay. And as you can see, since I haven't used it yet, these swatches are new to me as well. So because they're all neutral and they're all matte, they're great for any kind of base look. I don't tend to go straight matte like all over my eyes, so I would need another palette to go along with this, but this would be perfect for those crease shades, for a setting shade, for my eyeshadow primer, and any type of aspect like that. The next one I have is the Vanilla Co Fall in Soul palettes. I have two of them. You can see here, I have the Bukchang Gorgeous and the Hongdae Funky ones. These are Korean palettes. They are very, very light, very like really light wash of colors. Pigment is not the greatest in them. The Hongdae Funky one, which is this shade right here, is a cream shade for some reason. The color stories are beautiful in them, but they're not the greatest quality. I think I got them for like, I don't know. Oh geez. I think I got them for like 75% off. As you can see, like the pigment itself isn't bad, but they're not the greatest palette. They're not my favorite. I do love the Bukchang Gorgeous if I'm doing like a really pretty wide open eyes look, which is great for those. But yeah, they're not my favorite palettes to use, but I do like using them when I do. The next one was also for my friend Jill. I think she got a free gift with purchase. So this is a mini palette from Ulta with all these really pretty, like more pastel-y colors in it, which are super pretty. They're great for spring and summer. There's not a lot of pigment to them, so they're great for the same reason as the Vanilla Co ones, where they're awesome for those wide open eyes, like dolly eyes type of looks, which I enjoy doing every once in a while. Next up is the Naked Smoky palette from Urban Decay. I bought this when it was on sale last year for half price. It was $33. This palette is awesome for cosplay makeup because it contains all those neutral shades that a lot of cosplay, this one in particular I used for Katniss. A lot of these ones I'll use for various makeup looks. It's just easy to use. The colors are really like pigmented, which makes it really easy to put them on for costume makeup when you have really exaggerated makeup, which I really can appreciate and enjoy. So that is a really good palette for me because of cosplay. Next up, I have one of my favorite Korean eyeshadow palettes. This is the Personal Color Palette Pro from Etude House. This one is in Cool Tone Eyes. This one, though it is a bit expensive, I believe it's $40 US, but you get 20 shades in there and it's divided up into seasons. This one is summer and winter, I believe. Yes, summer and winter. It's divided up into seasons. It's a whole lot of like shimmers, a couple mattes in there. It's an awesome palette to use. It's beautiful colors. They're not overly pigmented, so they're easy to work with and build up. They look gorgeous on the eyes, and I love this palette. And another palette, this is the Warm Tone Eyes from the same collection. Again, this is about $40 US on the Etude House website, but it's well loved. As you can see, this is spring and fall. Yes, spring and fall. And all the colors in here perform the same as the ones in the cool tone, but they're just that little bit warmer of a tone. They sit beautifully on the eyes, they last a long time, and these palettes are pleasures to use. Next up is this one. This palette I bought solely because I needed this dark brown color. And as you can see, I got it on sale for $2.14. This is the LA Color, an LA Color eyeshadow palette. It's a green tone, but yeah, you can see the big dip in this one. For my Lara Croft cosplay, I did not have a deep brown that would work as dirt on her face, so I went out and found this one for that cheap, and I bought it solely for that color. The color, it works really well for special effects dirt makeup. I have not really used the rest of the palette, to be honest, but it would be great to use it for other cosplays. It's not super expensive, so I wouldn't be heartbroken to ruin it or run out of anything or if it broke. So it's great for that type of a deal. But yeah, no, it's just a standard palette I used for a cosplay. Next up, I have the Urban Decay Smoked palette. This palette I have used a few times as well in cosplay for certain colors in it. I haven't used this that much. I want to use it more, and now that we're getting into fall winter, I feel like I can use it more. These colors, because they're so dark, I feel like they are more suited to fall and winter. They are very, very pigmented. They sit, get the black in there. The black is like crazy black. But yeah, the shimmers are beautiful. The black is like insanely pigmented. I've used a couple of the browns, the blue, and the black for cosplay makeup as well, because it's very easy to use, because it's so pigmented and it's so like almost cream-like. They sit really nicely on the eye and they last all day, especially when you're in a hot convention hall. Next up, I have two Natasha Denona palettes. These are both the holiday palettes from last year. I bought the Eris palette solely because of Eris from Final Fantasy VII, let's be honest. I purchased it when they gave away that like $10 off $50 purchase around Christmas time last year. I bought it then, and then the Joya palette actually went on sale in about February, so I purchased this one then. These palettes, I wore this for a Christmas party last year. This palette, I used all 5 colors. It looked absolutely beautiful. This one I actually wore today for a fall look, and it looks super, super gorgeous. The mattes are amazing, and the shimmers are so opaque and so sparkly and glittery. It looks absolutely beautiful on your eyes. These were awesome investments. I can't justify her big ones because they're like $150 Canadian, but these ones I got for a really good deal, and I love the pigmentation in them and they look beautiful on the eyes. Next up, I have another Urban Decay eyeshadow palette. This is the Urban Spectrum eyeshadow palette. I love this palette. It's almost completely shimmers. The packaging is beautiful on it. The little box it comes in, though it's a little bit inconvenient to use when you're trying to use the eyeshadows, it looks beautiful on your counter and like on your makeup vanity. And all these colors are so gorgeous. Like, there is no words to describe these colors, but where most of them are shimmers, you really do need a matte for your crease shade. But they look beautiful on the eyes in fall, winter, and I'm really excited to start digging into this one again. Next up is this Tarte palette. This one is the Tarte Holiday palette for Ulta from last year. I didn't find the one from Sephora inspiring last year. Now this one is really, really bulky. But if you look at this one, you've got all your blushes, your contour, your highlighter. You had like a mascara, an eyeliner, and something else all in there too. And this is the palette itself. This is a beautiful Christmas winter jewel tone, but you can still get a really nice neutral look out of it. And I've actually found that all the rows in here are actually one eye look. So you can just literally pick a row and you have a complete eye look within that row, which makes it super duper easy to use. I haven't really used anything around the edges yet, just because I have so many others, but I find this a really beautiful palette, though it is, again, very, very bulky. And I found this year's is very similar to this, so I'm not going to purchase. So one holiday palette from Tarte is enough for me. Next up, I have two Makeup Forever palettes. I have the Artist Shadows 4 and I have 2. 2 is the matte, or the flower. I think it's called Flowers. Or 2, yeah, 2 I think it's called Flowers, and it's all these beautiful, really shimmery shades. It's only shimmery shades. So again, you almost need a second palette in order to complete your look on them. But I used this for most of the winter last year. As you can see, it's pretty well loved. But I loved using it. The colors are really pigmented. They're beautiful on the eyes, and I'm excited to use it again this year. The Artist Shadows 4 is an all matte palette. It is very much like a very neutral palette, but if you need a matte, it is the one to go to when it comes to finishing a look if you're working with an all shimmer palette, which I do a lot of the time. It's got all the colors you need for a matte look as well, albeit it seems a bit like 1 or 2 tones. So I use this, as you can see, for most of the time for this color and the pink in the middle, because I use it for transition and crease shade. Next up, another Urban Decay eyeshadow palette. This one's from the Gwen Stefani one. As you can see, again, this one is also really well loved. It's very dirty. I don't really care about cleaning my palettes because they're gonna get dirty the next time you use them anyways. This palette is beautiful. It's limited edition. You can't buy it anymore, but I got it on sale. The colors in it are beautiful. It's very neutral with those random kind of pops of color at the bottom here. It's very usable. You can travel really well with it and you can get a lot of looks out of it. Next up is another Smashbox palette. This one I also got from the YouTuber Swap from Liz Anderson, and she actually told me she thought of me when she brought this palette with her. She thought it was very much my colors, and they are. This one is a holiday palette from, I believe, a few years ago. This is the On the Rocks Photo Op eyeshadow palette, and it is absolutely beautiful. I haven't had a chance to use this yet, again, because the colors are very, very fall winter. I'm excited to start digging into it this fall and winter, just because there's such beautiful shimmer shades and beautiful mattes in it. It's just gonna be so exciting. Just dig in and get creative with it. Urban Decay, Alice the Through the Looking Glass palette. This palette I bought again when it was on half price. This palette is absolutely beautiful. The colors in it are very, very inspiring. It's done again in the way that each row it gives you a each column gives you a complete eyeshadow look, so you can choose whichever one you want and you'll be able to make a complete look out of it. So it takes a lot of the guessing work. If you're a beginner when it comes to makeup, you can just choose a row and then you can have a really unique eyeshadow look out of it. Another Urban Decay eyeshadow palette. This is the Vice 4. Again, the packaging on this is spectacular. This is the fourth Vice palette. I believe it's the last Vice palette. I love this palette. Again, it's very fall winter. As you can see, I have a thing for cool tone palettes. Cool tone is my jam. I don't really enjoy a lot of warm tones. These ones are just absolutely beautiful. Again, fall winter, I'm gonna be using this a lot. And we're on to the last eyeshadow palettes. These ones are the Smashbox Cover Shot eyeshadow palettes. These two are from the holiday set last year, and this one I purchased this summer. I have 3 of them. I have the Pinks and Palms eyeshadow palette, which are these ones, which is super cute. This one is very, very summery. The colors in it are uber pigmented. They're great for travel. They're just a beautiful, beautiful eyeshadow palette to use. And I mean, you get your mattes, you've got your crease colors, you've got your all over the lid, you got your shimmers, you even got your highlight if you want it. And if you are into a really shimmery bronzer, there's a bronzer in there as well. And the other two came together. You get the Ablaze eyeshadow palette, which is the warm tone one. Again, this is one of the only warm tone palettes I own, because I'm not a big fan of them. But this one, when it came in the set, it was $50 Canadian, and these alone are $35 by itself. So you got 2 of these plus a highlighting palette for 50 bucks. So I took advantage of it and purchased the little box set that comes with it. I like this palette in the spring, like spring and fall, like fall, winter, spring. This is a really nice palette to use on your eyes because it really warms up your face when it's really cold out. And the other one is the Sultry, and this one is the kind of more smoky, like smoky mauve purple-y type of palette, which again is my jam. I loved wearing this last winter. It's been well loved, as you can see. This one is more like, other than the pops of color, it's more of a neutral, but it's more of a nighttime look. However, I wore it during the day because I love it so, so much. But yeah, so those two came together with a highlighting palette. All right, so that's everything for my eyeshadow palette collection. What are your favorite eyeshadow palettes? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Please let me know. And also, like, are there any palettes that I have that you don't like, or are there any palettes that I don't have that you really enjoy? Let us know as well. If you like this video, give me a big thumbs up down below. And if you want to see more content from me, don't forget to hit the little red subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when I post new content, don't forget to hit the little bell next to it. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.